That's fucking delightful. Fucking delightful. Fucking good combination playing. Sliding balls into space. Good. Excellent. You had them on the fucking roll.
Hello everyone and welcome to the ROKER RAPPORT Player Ratings Podcast in association with Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen. I did remember to do that this week. You join us on the back of Sunderland's fantastic 3-0 away victory at MK Dons in the Papa John's Trophy. It sends us through to the semi-finals of a tournament a lot of people don't really care about. Me personally, I enjoy it. It was great to watch us play well tonight. Bit of a different team put out by Lee Johnson, and it was good to see us take it seriously as well. So I'm joined tonight by a couple of other Player Ratings podcast hosts. I'm the lucky one doing this tonight. Ant Waterson, how are you doing, Ant?
Yeah, not bad, mate, thanks. Like you say, really happy getting into a semi-final of a cup. You know, we'll tack it, won't we? It's really, really good, really promising.
Yeah. And Bomber, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, Gav, yeah. Not too bad. Same
We're
as
all good, aren't we? We're all
Yeah.
good. Sunderland winning, it's always good when Sunderland win. And of course, like I said just at the top there, it was a pretty comprehensive victory by the lads tonight. There was nothing really much to complain about. We won 3-0 away from home and put ourselves through at the semi-finals, so there's not much to complain about. I'll quickly run through what happened in the game. Obviously, we started pretty quickly. The pressing, especially early in the game, was fantastic. It was good just to see us, getting at a team. And I think a lot of the time you could put it down to maybe Wyke and Leadbitter being a little bit slower, but today we picked a pretty quick team and we got at them, and we got our rewards when we broke forward quickly. Jack Diamond came down the right-hand side of the pitch, tries to cut it back to Aidan O'Brien, but it deflected off Dean Lewington and into the net to make it 1-0. And then on from there, we just controlled what went on in the game. It wasn't really, I wouldn't say MK Dons played particularly well. I think maybe Remy Matthews maybe had one save to make in the whole game. Our second goal came from Aidan McGeady, who was a substitute tonight. Shot from outside the area, which the keeper had made a right mess of it, to be fair. Like, he sort of bundled it in the back of the net, but if you don't shoot, you don't score. And that's one thing that we've sort of got back into our game since McGeady came back. He does like to take a shot on from distance, and then just to round things off, around about the 81st minute, cross comes in from Grant Leadbitter. Charlie White, that man again, I think that's his 16th of the season. A header, which he put away brilliantly. Another good goal from him, which I believe puts him level with Josh Madger. Josh Madger had 16 when he left Sunderland. So, maybe it's time we start giving him a bit of credit.
Good job the transfer window's closed, eh?
Yeah, well, hey, yeah. I bet there was a queue of teams waiting to get him. So, Ant, I've ran over things very quickly there, but how do you feel? And are you happy with that?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I'm really, really happy, to be honest. Like we said at the top of the show, it's nice to have, a break from the league where, we're not doing as well as what we would have hoped. And it's nice to see the likes of Jordan Jones get his debut today. I thought he did really well for what we've saw. Look, we're in a final four of a cup where we have a realistic chance of winning. Who cares if it's a Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever? We've got a chance of lifting some silverware this season. It's going to be typical Sunderland that we'll end up winning the cup and not being able to go, but it is what it is. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed spending £10 on the game, and I haven't said that much this season, so really chuffed.
Bomber?
Yeah, just echo what Ant said, really. You can't be disappointed with a 3-0 victory, particularly given the conditions and the circumstances around it. It wasn't the greatest pitch to play football on in the greatest conditions, but we still did that and did that pretty well. I thought we were a little bit patchy in places, but I would put that down to the conditions. But same as Ant, I was excited to see Jones get a run out. And exciting to see actually what he can bring to the team for the rest of the season, because if particularly that first 45 minutes of his, if he can replicate that over the season, he's going to create an awful lot for us. You can see that, and it was just refreshing to see, like you said, that pace and that energy in the final third, or certainly in the MK Dons half. When you've got Jones, Diamond, Gooch, Luca 9 obviously further up the pitch and coming back on. You've got energy and pace up there that you can afford to just go and press. And the amount of times I don't think I've seen a game certainly this season where an opposition team's given the ball back to us so frequently. And a lot of that was because we were just in their faces, and they couldn't deal with it. And they just kept giving us the ball back in midfield. So yeah, I mean it's as good a performance all in all as I've seen in the past few months. So. Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay, we'll quickly run over the 3-word review, which I've asked for on Twitter. Yet again, tons of responses, so I'm sorry I can't get through all of them, but we'll do our best to do as many as possible. We'll start with Cameron Johnson, friend of the pod. Neil deserves praise. I totally agree. Cameron, brilliant performance from him tonight. Carl Bridgewood says Dare to Dream. Ander Grimm, player Dan Neil. James says how are the pizza. Glenn Foster, same Saturday please. JC95, bring on Saturday. Big theme of that. Lots of people saying same again Saturday. Gavin Moan grew in confidence. Neil should start, says Gary Summerson. Empty Wembley bound, says John Ridley. Jack Kennedy, Super Dan Neil. Spencer Davison says I love pace. We all do.
Yeah.
Richard says starting to click, which I think is important. Yeah, it was good to see us click tonight. Ross Robson says same again Saturday, another one. Loads of same again Saturdays. Usually half of these are people just saying the same thing. Steve, job well done. Cam Hawkins, well balanced side. Brownie says pace, pace, pace. Pierre Smith says K Sarah Sarah. McGeady different class says Brody. Much better Sunderland says Isola Sean. And we'll end on Snap Smile, who says confidence the difference. I think that's apt. Yeah, we were just so much more confident than them on the ball today. You said yourself there, Bomber. The pressing from the front, I think, was the big difference. I mean, even when we changed around personnel, like 4 subs at once, and we changed our system as well, which is, I don't think we've seen Johnson go to 3 at the back before. We still pressed high up the pitch. We still, when we got the ball, looked effective with it. Jack Diamond, I think somebody just touched on it there before. Jack Diamond, every time he got the ball tonight, usually just inside their half, he would carry it 20-25 yards, and having a player who does that is just such a benefit, because you want to be able to get forward quickly. And when you're ponderous on the ball, like the Tuesday night game last week, which was on Sky at Ipswich, I felt like at times we too slow in our build up. It was like a different team tonight, and that was totally down to the personnel that were in the starting 11 for me. And it was a shame actually Luke O'Nien had to end up going left back, because when he was in the centre of the park, he was outstanding. Then he went left centre, he went to left back and was outstanding, and then he went left centre half when we went to a back 3 and he was outstanding. I mean, what a performance from Luke O'Nien, ain't there?
Yeah, he was brilliant, and it's good to see him just back on the football pitch as well, isn't after a dislocated shoulder is a really, really nasty injury for a professional footballer to have, because it affects everything. I mean, obviously he kind of takes wins at the minute with what was going on, but I liked him in the middle of midfield, I must admit. I know he didn't last that long, but you could just tell how different we were, because obviously with Grant and to an extent Josh Scone playing, we slow it down too much, whereas Luke O'Nien straight away was trying to get the ball further forward. And like I say, it's just so nice to see him enjoying himself again. He went to left back, he looked natural at left back. He went to left centre half, he looked natural there. He's just an all-round naturally good footballer, isn't he? I mean, I know his contract's up for renewal at the end of the season. We should be doing everything everything to kind of make him sign a new deal, because he's just such a different player to have on the pitch than anyone else, really, because he can play in that many different positions and he can play well in them all. So it's just really, really nice to see. Yeah.
What would you do with him on Saturday, Bomber? O'Nien?
Oh, I know, it's a tricky one. I think it really depends on the extent of Midfadzian's injury, doesn't it? Although Vokins, yeah, of course, yeah, of course, they're only not in because they're cup side. I'd keep him in the midfield. I think the one word that I can use to surmise Luke O'Nien in the centre midfield today was refreshing. The energy, his energy just getting about the midfield, whether it's on the ball or off the ball, is something that we've been crying out for all season. Whether it's me or yourself or anyone who's come on these podcasts after a game, that has said the same thing, that we miss energy in midfield, we miss a bit of spark in midfield. And instantly, and considering he's been out for a good fair few weeks, this is his first start for however long, it looked like he'd never been away, and it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And I think him buzzing around in that midfield was a catalyst for everything else that happened that was good tonight. Like you said, when he moved back to left back, it was like he'd been playing there, all his career. He's obviously not bothered by his shoulder. He's thrown himself into slide tackles, making blocks. That's
the point. Sorry to butt in, but that's a point I wanted to make about him. It's not just the fact he was winning tackles. They were just so committed. It was like big, heavy tackles. Getting all of the ball. Like proper physical central midfield play, which I don't think any of our other players ever do. There was. I think it was about. I noted it down in the 21st minute. He just thundered through the ball, took the man as well. It went out for a throw-in, I think. But he done that on numerous occasions. Just big, heavy tackles, and like you say, for somebody who's probably been advised to try and protect himself a little bit, if his shoulder's probably not 100%, it didn't seem to faze him, because he couldn't have looked more committed. He looked like somebody who's been waiting to do this for such a long time. He wasn't going to let the opportunity pass him by. And he'll definitely come into Johnson's thinking for the weekend. He has to, just because he was just so good. Also in the midfield tonight, I actually thought Scowen had a canny game, and obviously we'll get on to individual performances in a bit. Scowen had a canny game, and Dan Neil as well. Dan Neil definitely deserves a mention. He came on when McFadzean got injured early in the first half, and I'll be honest, he doesn't look out of place at all. He looks like a first-team footballer, and the way he passes the ball around, everything goes forward. He always shows for the ball, and for such a young player, that's unbelievable, really. You know, when everybody seems to be raving about him, about his performance tonight. How did you feel about that? Yeah, except Jimmy. We'll not talk about that. But yeah, Bomber, what did you think of Dan Neil tonight?
I mean, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. For such a young lad as well. That's easy to forget, because the thing is with Dan Neil is on the ball and off the ball, he just seems to make things look so easy. He looks so composed. He's never flustered. You know, he seems to read the game really well. He's always looking to pop off kind of simple passes just to recycle possession and keep hold of it. It's easy to forget that just how young he is. And I think because he makes things look so easy, it's also quite easy to overlook those kind of performances. So I'm glad that he's getting the recognition that he deserves from the vast majority of people tonight. Those centre midfield positions are going to be an absolute nightmare for Lee Johnson now. And if you consider O'Nien, Dan Neil, Winchester's not even made the bench tonight. He's going to be in a reckoning.
He was cup-tied, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be coming into reckoning for Saturday. The competition for places in that position, or in those two positions, is absolutely fierce. And Dan Neil, I would say, is, in terms of performances, is probably top of the list at the minute.
Yeah. So a good all-round performance, and are we confident for the weekend, Dan? I mean, we'll play these again. I mean, this is going to be a rocket up their arse, you would think, because when we played them the other week, they were good. I thought they were all right, MK Dons. Tonight, they just didn't look interested. Where I thought, even with the team selection, sort of suggested we were taking it very seriously. And the 4 subs that came on in the second half were all, people you'll expect to be in the reckoning for a start. Sorry, maybe not younger, but the other 3 expecting to maybe start the game. It's good to see us taking it seriously, isn't it? And it bodes well for the weekend.
Yeah, on both points, yeah. It's nice to see us taking this cup game seriously, because at the end of the day, there is a trophy to be won at the end of it. And now, we'll keep on going on about, we're bigger than League One and all this stuff, but the fact of the matter is we're in League One, might as well go and win it. It is refreshing to see such a strong side that was out, and you look at who we brought on, Aidan McGeady and Grant Ledbetter coming on. It's class. Charlie Wyke, our top scorer, coming on. It's really nice to see. As for Saturday, barring if the pitch stays as it is, because if that gets any more bad weather on, I think we'll be struggling to get 90 minutes on that. But I think MK Dons will probably change their side up a little bit. But there's nothing much that scares me about them. Cameron Jerome coming on for them. If we can mark him out the game, because he'll probably start on Saturday. If we can mark him out the game, we shouldn't be scared too much of them. We should go there. A bit more like what we did tonight. Should go there, try and get an early goal and try and get them on the counter, and we should be all right. We should be beating sides like MK Dons, especially when we're away from home, because we're doing so well away from home. So I am quite confident ahead of the game on Saturday.
I think if we line up with the same intent, not necessarily the same personnel, but with the same intent of making sure we got pace in the right places, making sure we got energy in the right places, and getting in their backline's faces early doors, they won't be able to live with us. That they can make as many changes as they want. The fact of the matter is that they're, on paper at least, they aren't as good as our footballers. So it depends on our attitude, I think, as to what happens Saturday. Because I don't, even though MK Dons, they did kind of look a bit not arsed, particularly after that second goal went in. Some of that was our doing. So yeah, I wouldn't be fearful going into Saturday's game, as long as we adopt the same attitude.
Yeah, you mentioned the pitch there, and our pitch. I mean, we've proven tonight we can play on a crap pitch, because that was horrendous. I mean, even before a ball was kicked, it looked like a farmer's field, and we still passed it around fairly well. We worked hard. I'm hoping we haven't picked up any injuries. Players playing on with muscle strains or whatever, because those sort of things do come around when you play on bad surfaces. But yeah, I think the fact that we played so convincingly on a bad surface bodes well, certainly for when we get back to the Stadium of Light, because Their pitch was terrible. It's going to be interesting to see what it's like on Saturday though, because it's I don't know what the weather's like down there. You couldn't really tell on the stream.
It
but
was
it's
absolutely hossing it down in the second half, Gav.
Yeah,
you could hear it
has been
smashing
here
off
all day,
the
hasn't
stadium,
it?
couldn't it? So yeah, if it gets a couple of days of that on, I mean, there was hardly any grass coming in the middle of the pitch, was there? So that'll just turn
like
to
pure
quag.
sand. It looked like pure sand. It was weird, but at least we've shown we can play on it, and that's one benefit to take from it. All right, let's get on to player ratings. Then we've yabbered on enough. Starting off with Remy Matthews, I'll give him to you, and go on, Remy Matthews.
Right, yeah.
How do you think he did?
I thought this was probably Matthews' best game for Sunderland, which probably isn't saying much.
Is that because he only had one? Is that because he only had one save to make?
Well, you know what? Yeah, but it was a very, very good save in the second half. He got down. It was a good, strong hand. I mean, Remy Matthews has made mistake after mistake since he's come in for Burge, and I actually thought he looked quite comfortable. I thought his kicking wasn't bad. And like I say, and that save was at 1-0. Very good save, and we went on to win the game 3-0. So, yeah, I've given him a 7.
Yeah, it was a cracking save, and it was a good move from MK Dons, wasn't it? They burst forward quickly. It's something to maybe be wary of at the weekend, because when Cameron Jerome came on, he was the one who held it up and teed it up to Fraser, and it was a fantastic save. But, like you say, I've been a critic of Remy Matthews, and he deserves a bit of praise tonight. I give him a 7. McFadzean, then I'll take McFadzean, Bomber. Came off after 26 minutes, but that was a bad 26 minutes, I think. Just another... he's just not very good. He's been very lucky to play as much as he has. He's benefited from Hume being injured, and tonight he's benefited from Vokins not being able to play. Luke O'Neill went over there and showed him how to do it. For me, that's proper defensive play. He got forward properly. So McFadzean, I gave him a 5, and I think I might even be being generous. There was one, I noted this down in the 10th minute. He was standing on the inside our half on the left hand side of the pitch, just got caught messing around, gave away possession needlessly, and they burst forward. He does that so often. I think that might be the last time we see him this season, if I'm honest, barring any sort of disasters elsewhere, because Vokins is going to come into the team now with him injured. Hume is probably a while away yet, but I'd be surprised if he gets back in after that tonight. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me. Maybe I've been harsh on him, but I wasn't impressed once again with McFadzean.
No, I wouldn't give him anything less than a 5 necessarily, because he's had 28 minutes or however long it was, and there's not as much that you can do wrong in less than half an hour. But he still can't cross a ball. And I think just the final one on McFadzean, it's strange, isn't it? Because on his debut, when he was playing that little bit further up the pitch, we were all saying how classy he looked and how brilliant he looked going forward, and it's literally that one game, and he just hasn't replicated it at all. So it's disappointing. But I agree with you. I don't think we'll see him again this season unless barring disaster.
Okay, Flanagan then, Bomber. What do you reckon of him?
Very hit and miss. I think there was certain
Jekyll and Hyde.
Definitely. Yeah. I think things that he did certain things well. So I think in the air he was pretty dominant. Some of the no nonsense stuff he did very well, which is kind of typical Flanagan really. Although he was a bit bull in a china shop at times and left Willis a little bit exposed 1-on-1 through the middle. And a better team who was able to bypass him might have exposed that a little bit. But, it didn't cost us. It was only an isolated couple of instances. And, it's a clean sheet, so I'd be loath to give him anything less than a 6.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 based on his full-time, full game performance. First half, I thought there was 2 moments in the first half. 18th minute, I've got this noted down, when the ball sort of fell to his feet and his touch was poor and it actually bounced straight to their forward, and the lad shot was poor and it went straight to Matthews. And then just before half time, it was like, you just said it yourself, bull in a china shop. He came flying out for no reason whatsoever. Out of the back line had held the line. He comes flying into midfield, totally misses the ball and the man. It's played around him. It goes out wide on the right, and luckily Luke O'Neill read the play well and got rid of it. But there's 2 instances there where he could have actually cost us goals. But second half, I actually don't think he put a foot wrong, and he looked better in a back 3. So. Yeah, I think you're probably right with a 6 there. Jordan Willis then, Ant, he's yours.
Yeah, I've given John Willis a 6. I didn't think he had that much to do. Didn't notice him make that many mistakes. So just nice and steady. It's again nice to see Willis playing regularly again, like we record with O'Neill, because I think Willis is, probably our strongest defender. Our strongest defender.
Strongest defender,
right?
yeah.
He's our strongest defender. I thought he dealt with the aerial threat quite well. And fair credit to Lee Johns for giving him a rest as well, because we could afford to give him a rest, so he'd be ready for Saturday. I would imagine Bailey Wright will come back in to partner him, because I'm with you with Flanagan. He just frightens the life out of me, like. Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, strong, steady 6 for Jordan Willis, and it's nice to see him playing regularly again.
Yeah, I agree, and I've noted down a couple of things in the second half which I enjoyed, and it actually relates back to Saturday as well, because he done this a bit on Saturday. But when he was getting the ball, carrying it forward, he was a real asset, like breaking out of defence. I think the fact he's so quick and he's so confident on the ball is a useful tool. That's probably one of the reasons why he starts each week. There was one in particular where he pressed really high, just read the play well, won the ball, flew in, won the ball and played it forward quickly, and that was just the story of our game today. It was from back to front, everybody tried to get the ball forward quickly. So yeah, Willis did well.
I was going to say, did anyone notice though, quite a little bit worryingly, he was kind of limping around for 10 minutes halfway through that second half.
I think that's why he got took off, didn't he?
Yeah, just before he came off, he was limping around a little bit and holding his knee, which was a little bit worrying.
I can't say I noticed it, but that's not to say it didn't happen. It was a heavy pitch as well, wasn't it? So maybe they just looked at everything and thought, yeah, let's get him off. Max Power, I think that's me, isn't it? I gave him a 6. I actually think there was a couple of occasions where he looked exposed at right back, but then I tallied it up with the fact that he was probably playing against their strongest player tonight, the left winger. I thought he had a canny game. But in the second half, there was a little moment about half an hour from the end of the game where he just it was as though he'd realised that the winger had got the better of him a few times, and he'd worked the situation out. It was good to see him improve basically through the game. He started a little bit slowly and exposed, and as the game went on, he looked better and better. And he was another of the players who sort of benefited from us going to a 3, with him playing right wing back, I think. Mm-hmm. So I gave him a 6. I don't think he'd done anything particularly wrong, and like I say, I think considering we kept a clean sheet, and he probably had the hardest job tonight, which was marking their best player, I don't think he did too badly.
The one slight criticism I've got with Power at the minute, and he'll learn from this because he's in a new position, he gets dragged in a little bit too much, whereas he needs to kind of like get wide. Yeah, but McFadson's exactly the same on the left, I've noticed as well, so I don't know if this is just what they're getting told to do or something, but he needs a couple of times their left winger, who was their best player, like he was getting like kind of free at acres of room, and Power's having to like rush across. So if he can get that out of the game, he can iron that out of his game. But listen, it's a new position, and he is looking solid there. So
are we going to mention his foul throw?
No.
Luke O'Neill then, Bomber.
I've given Luke O'Neill an 8, a strong 8. I've waxed lyrical about
pushing
him.
Pushing a 9.
I've waxed lyrical about him already, so there's not much to say that I haven't already said. Like I said, refreshing that the energy is in there. If we had a team or a squad of players that had the same commitment and energy as Luke and 9, we'd be top of the league and 10 points clear.
Totally. Josh Scowenand?
Yes, solid 6. I seem to always give Scowen a 6, but I can't give him any higher or lower because I thought he had a very good first half. I thought he dictated the play quite well, and he does well at winning these little free kicks, doesn't he, in the middle, because he intercepts the ball quite quick, because he's a little nippy kind of player, and he brought the play up quite nice for us. Second half, I thought he went a little bit quiet, probably needed to come off, and he did. But yeah, steady 6.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. I'd say that I've given him a 7 in both halves. I thought he did okay. Like you say, as I mentioned with 09, just the whole winning the ball back thing was important to how we played today, and I think it sort of suited Scowen, because his job pretty much was just get the ball and give it to somebody else, and I think he's better in that situation. And I actually think some of his best games have been in the EFL Trophy this season, just because if Ledbetter starts next to him, he tends to play as the midfielder who has to get forward. I actually think he suits the holding role a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and he only sort of plays there in the trophy games. So, yeah, I thought he did okay tonight. Jordan Jones, I think that's me. I've given him a 7. For somebody who's not played a lot of football this season, he didn't really look like he missed a beat. I know I wasn't expecting him to play a full game, so when he came off on the hour, I sort of expected that, but I think he just looked quick and sharp, didn't he? And he's a couple of things I did notice though. He was sort of like when he was getting on the ball. And I like this actually because it shows confidence and it shows he's already putting his foot down a bit. When there was nobody round him, he was complaining and sticking his hand out and sort of saying, "Give us some support," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which for a new player is pretty ballsy, isn't it? So I would like to see him start again on the weekend, but I don't think he will. I've just got a feeling he might just come off the bench. They're probably going to have to ease him in, particularly on a pitch like that. If he hasn't played a lot of football, it's heavy on the legs, isn't it? So he'll be knackered tomorrow, you would imagine, having played for the first time in a long time. So, but I've given Jones a 7. I think Jimmy gave him man the match in our ratings on the site. I just thought he had a pretty good game, and it was good to see him, have a good performance in his debut. What about you lads? Anybody got to add?
Yeah, the one thing that I would say about Jones is that he offers something completely different, and it like I said, the longer he's in the team and he carries on doing that, it'll only stand to benefit us. He tries to beat a man just by pace, almost like, I'm not suggesting he is like this player, but almost Gareth Bale like, in that he will just kind of go direct, run past somebody and back that he's going to outpace them and outmuscle them. Whereas the likes of Gooch and McGeady in particular, they can't beat a player with pace. They try and put them on their back, like rock them on their heels with a bit of skill or a bit of trickery. Whereas Jones is just raw pace. He's like, I'm going to knock that past you, and I'm going to run with the ball, and I'm going to back myself to kind of hold you off or be faster than you. And we don't have anyone in the team, probably Diamond, but I'd say that Jones is probably faster than Diamond and more direct and certainly more strong.
It reminds me a lot of Stuart Downing when Downing first signed when he came to us on loan. He reminds us a lot of Downing, just raw, genuine pace, which it's going to frighten teams in League One. It's going to absolutely, scare, especially like you say there. I expect him to come on Saturday, probably for McGeady or whoever. And can you imagine tired legs on a pitch like that? He'll be an absolute masterclass, won't he?
Yeah.
He'll be brilliant. Yeah.
Speaking of pace, then Jack Diamond, I think that's you, Bomber.
Yeah. So I gave Diamond a 7. I didn't. He was very lively. I thought first half he didn't get the ball enough. I thought we could have done better to give him the ball more often because he was getting joy down that right hand side. He's obviously a bit fortunate for the goal, but it's his own kind of determination and pace that has got him in the position to try and cut that ball across, and it's ended up going in. So fair play to him. Again, he's a kind of a player that comes in fits and starts in terms of his involvement in the game and his level of involvement. Sometimes he'll go quiet for 10 minutes and all of a sudden he'll pick the ball up twice in 5 minutes and do something really good with it.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about Diamond, and it's not a criticism of him because he can't do anything about it right now, is he's still quite lightweight. He's getting shoved off the ball quite often. Sometimes we're winning free kicks for it, and sometimes not. But like I said, I can't criticise him for that because that's just physics at the minute. But in terms of confidence and performance, very, very good. It's a very strong 7.
He actually got more and more involved as MK Dons dropped off. He just sort of picking the ball up on the halfway line, like I said earlier, and driving at them. He'd done it quite often, and it's worth noting that he was involved in the first 2 goals. The first one, obviously, he's trying to cross the ball, but still it's the way I look at these things is when people say, "Oh well, we've got a bit lucky there. We've got an own goal." Well, Diamond had to make that run to be in a position for that goal to happen, and that's what I like when somebody drives forward. He's always offering an option on that right hand side, and he always seems to be in good space. Like he never seems to be close to his man. Like Gooch, I think sometimes gets caught too close to his man, where Diamond always seems to have a load of space around him, and that makes him a good option for the pass because he can cut in off his other foot sometimes and cross it, or he can, sort of pull it back. Either way, but he had a good game tonight.
Yeah, he holds the touchline really well for a winger, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's right close to that line. It's really good to see that.
Yeah, and he could have maybe got a goal with a minute ago. He put his laces through a good shot, which the keeper had to save. I just think he was involved in pretty much everything we did well going forward. And it doesn't always come off with Diamond, and I think that's just going to be a trait of his play. Like he's that type of winger. But he's playing in League One, and he will get better. This is a thing you've got to remember with some of these players, especially Diamond and Dan Neil. This is them just starting to make their way into the team. So we're going to see small and gradual improvements every time they play. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with him. Gooch, I think, is me, and I'll Gooch. I think he was busy. I've wrote down a 7, mainly because he was a bit like Diamond. He was involved in a lot, but he didn't. I thought his end product wasn't fantastic. But I think the off-the-ball stuff was probably where he came into the game the
pressing,
most.
yeah.
The pressing, and that's the best, and that's probably why he's going to start a lot of games now he's fit, particularly in the front two. I think he will, just because when the goalkeeper gets the ball, he's in the face, and that's going to be important to how Johnson wants us to play. So yeah, I give him a 7, maybe a little bit kind, but I just think his pressing was great.
Yeah, the problem with Gooch, the only problem I got with Gooch is his decision making. So for Diamond's goal, Gooch's decision to pass the ball to the right to Diamond was actually the wrong one, because Aidan O'Brien was in about 10 yards of space to his left, and he held onto the ball for far too long, and O'Brien actually then ran offside. So that's the only the biggest criticism I've got of Gooch, is that his decision making is sometimes quite poor. But otherwise, like you said, the stuff off the ball he did was fantastic.
O'Brien and?
I'm gonna sound really harsh, but I've only given him a 5. I didn't think he had his best. To be honest, he hasn't had many good games for us, but we were on about him last week against Ipswich, and I thought he had a really good game against Ipswich, and he did really well, harassing the defenders and stuff like that. I didn't see that tonight from him, and I just thought he drifted in and out of the game too much for my liking. And I thought Gooch in his position, because Gooch was kind of playing the O'Brien position when O'Brien plays with Wyke, and I thought Gooch was kind of better in that position than what O'Brien normally is. So I think he's going to be looking over his shoulder and maybe not getting much of a game as now that Gooch is fit. I think he's the one who's going to drop out. But tonight I just didn't see enough of him to kind of give him any more than a 5. I just thought he drifted too much in and out of the game for me.
I've given him a 7 in both halves. I thought his involvement in the first goal was that he brought the ball down, which set Gooch away for the move. I just thought his heading and his hold-up play was genuinely quite good. But I agree with you. He's not enough of a goal threat, actually, is he?
No.
He's played, so he sort of played that role Wyke would normally play tonight for the most of the game, and he hasn't scored, and then he came off on the hour mark. So
and then his replacements come on and scored as well.
That's it.
It's like, there you go,
Well, I think this is a wider discussion point, but the signing of Ross Stewart sort of tells me that Johnson's not totally convinced with O'Brien, because everything I read about Ross Stewart tells us that he's the type of player who plays alongside Wyke. He works hard, he runs, he's quick, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, you're probably right. We're probably going to see him drop out for probably Gooch. Wyke and Gooch up front.
Yeah, it's the pace thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dan Neil Bomber?
Brilliant. So again, similar to Luke 9, we've talked about him at length already. I've given him a 7/8. I'm going to settle on a 7. Like I said, just so composed on the ball, makes everything look easy, kind of mature beyond his years and experienced beyond his years on the pitch. I can't remember, I certainly haven't got anything written down, but I can't remember anything in particular that he did that was poor or a mistake. And as he is a bit more of that kind of sitting, holding defensive midfielder, he's not going to be involved as much in terms of pushing the ball into the box, etc. And I think he did very well working with Leadbitter to protect the ball, protect the back four. So strong 7, possibly an 8. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I've got written down that surely now he has to come into the thinking for league games.
Oh, most definitely.
I would say there's only Leadbitter's spot that's really nailed down in that midfield. And tonight we've seen O'Nien and Dan Neil play there and do very well. Like Dan Neil, for me, when he doesn't play that often, but when he does come in, he doesn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah,
and that's such a big compliment to pay a young player, because one thing you usually expect with youth is a bit of inconsistency. I've never seen any of it with him.
No. Particularly for a player who plays maybe 1 in 10 games. Yeah, he can't get a run of form together or get his eye in terms of match sharpness in the first team. So when he does come in, it's for the first time, like I say, in 10 games or whatever, and it's like he's been there all season. And that again, it's just a massive compliment to him.
I think it speaks sentiments as well to him that the first sub, when McFadden went off injured, and this is in the 25th, 26th minute, the first sub, Lee Johnson looked and thought, I'll give Dan Neil a go. He could have brought Leadbitter on or whatever like that. He thought, no, I'll move Luke O'Nien across, and I'll bring Dan Neil on to give us that little bit, that little bit extra in midfield. And he never let him down. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to rattle through the last 4 subs in quickly, and you can tell us if I'm talking shite or not. Charlie Wyke, 7 I've gave him. I thought just because his goal was a great finish. there's another goal for Charlie White. You can't really argue with his scoring record this season. He's come on, and he's it was nice to see us score. I don't think it was directly from a set piece, but sort of Ledbetter played a short corner, carried it out, little cross into the box, good header. So you can't really complain with that. Younger, I've gave a 6-2, mainly because I don't think he had a lot to do. But again, probably a bit like Neil, I don't think he looked out of place. So it's a compliment, really,
Yeah.
Ledbetter, I gave a 7-2. If he'd been on the pitch longer, maybe I would have given him a higher mark. I actually think he played really well.
Yeah, he did.
Some of his... And it was nice to see him pass the ball forward. There was one in particular that went into Gucci's feet on the left wing. It was probably like a 50-yard pass to feet. And then a minute later, he sets the goal up. So can't really complain with that.
I gave Ledbetter a 5/6, and then maybe maybe that just because I was getting so frustrated with his corners. Because the 4 corners that he took were all absolutely terrible and didn't even make it into the box past the first man. I know he put the cross in for White's goal, but that was on the back of a crap corner which just happened to come back out to him. Maybe I've let that kind of frustrate me and affect my scoring.
Yeah, maybe I'm just feeling a bit trigger happy tonight. And last but not least, I've got Aidan McGeady down as a 7. Similar to White, came on and scored a goal, so you can't really complain about that. No. It was Danny Collins on the commentary mentioned that he felt McGeady's just not looked like he's been missing for a year. He's come into the team and he's been able to contribute, which has been really important, particularly in a team that doesn't generally score a lot of goals. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be getting fitter and sharper every time he plays. So, yeah, good to see McGeady back. And I'll let you pick the man of the match first. Who do you think?
Easy one for me, Logo 9. Absolutely fantastic in 3 positions.
I would totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, like what you come back to what you've said. He looked at Cal McFadzean and gave Cal McFadzean a lesson in how to play left back. He's just I just love him. I love him. He's absolutely fantastic, and he was by far head and shoulders the best player on the pitch. And I would say Dan Neil a close second though.
I'll tell you what summed up his commitment tonight was. There was a moment when he went over to take a throw in, and he's obviously been told not to, and you just saw him warming his shoulders up, and there must have been a shout from the touchline saying no, drop it, and someone else went and took the throw in.
It was as well after the 3rd goal that we'd scored, and this is we're 3-0 up with about 5 minutes left, and they broke away. And he was flying back to get back and put a tackle.
The one that he put out for a corner.
Yeah. I mean, you would expect a 3-0. You would probably you kind of let them to say, get the crossing or whatever. No, he just straight away flew back, went out for a corner. He was, absolutely fantastic, and can't wait to see what he can do in midfield as well, going down the line, because I think that's going to be a really, really interesting selection.
Manager out of 10, Bomber. What do you reckon?
I think it's got to be high tonight, hasn't it? I'd probably give him an 8 tonight in terms of his team selection, in terms of the way he set them out to play, and in terms of the changes and he changed the system when he felt he needed to as well, which also worked because we got a couple more goals from it. I can't fault it tonight, really.
No.
He was a little bit hamstrung with some selection decisions because of obviously certain players either not being fit or cup tied. So yeah, I can't really fault him. So maybe he deserves more than an 8. But
I'll give him a 10. Basically because of what you've just said.
Yeah.
I sat and thought about it, and I was like, I can't think of anything the manager's done wrong tonight. Everything from the team he picked, which was strong. He gave players a chance. Like Ant said, Dan Neil was the first sub he brought on. Every change he made sense and paid off.
Yeah, I don't know why I've said 8 now, really, thinking about it.
the switching system I didn't see coming, but it made sense because of just the players we had available. It was sort of a case of, let's make it a little bit easier on them, and it worked. So, yeah, brilliant night.
He was
for
very
Johnson.
proactive tonight, wasn't he? He was very, very proactive, which kind of begs the question, why didn't he do that on Saturday? You know what I mean? Against Gillingham when they changed their formation, why didn't he do that? But you're going on tonight's performance, you can't fault him. He did everything right, made exactly the right subs at the right time.
Yeah, sod off with your negativity, and sod off with your negativity. Yeah.
I mean, I did give him some criticism on Twitter and on obviously the pod that never went out on Saturday. I actually rated him really low because I thought he cost us 2 points, whereas tonight I thought he's, to make 4 substitutions midway in the second half and then the team scores another 2 goals. You've got to give him high marks. I had him as an 8 as well as Bomber, and after what you've just said there, I've scribbled it out and put a 10 in.
Yeah, same.
There we go. It's a 10 from Len. Right. So happy days all around them. We seem to all be on the same page with what went on tonight. Just a brilliant result considering the circumstances. Like you said, Bomber just touched on there. There was a lot of players missing actually.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was a good result in that sense, and it sets us up well for the weekend. Or as some may say, in typical Sunderland fashion, we'll replicate none of that. We'll replicate none of that on Saturday. MK Dons will, have a fire lit under them because they've been battered off us. Let's just see. But we will be back. I think Brett's back with the lads before the game with the match preview, so they'll be able to go in a bit more detail than we have tonight. And thanks everyone for joining us. Of course, make sure you check out everything on the website this week because there's plenty coming, and we'll catch you all down the road.